The US government just forced one of the biggest AI companies in the world to shut down its most powerful models, for everyone, everywhere. And then, a week later, the president said he's no longer worried about them. Welcome to the most confusing, consequential moment in AI policy history. I'm going to break down exactly what happened, why it matters, and what it tells us about the future of this technology. Let's start with the official position, because it's actually pretty clear. The White House put out a statement saying the United States continues to lead the world in artificial intelligence, and the reason is talent and innovation. Their words. They explicitly said they refuse to stifle this innovation with overly burdensome regulation. So the government's official stance is, let the industry cook. Don't get in the way. This has been the dominant philosophy since the early days of the Trump administration's approach to AI, and it reflects a genuine belief that regulatory overreach could hand the AI future to China. Fair point. But here's where it gets messy. On June 19, 2026, everything got complicated. An export control directive came down from the US government ordering Anthropic, the company behind Claude, backed by Amazon and Google, to disable access to its two most advanced AI models, Fable 5 and Mythos 5. Not just for people overseas. Not just for foreign nationals. The directive required Anthropic to block foreign nationals from accessing these models worldwide. So if you were a foreign national anywhere on the planet, you lost access to Anthropic's top-tier capabilities overnight. Anthropic complied. They shut it down. This wasn't a negotiation. This was the government using export control law, the same laws used to restrict semiconductor chip sales to adversaries, to control who can use frontier AI. Think about that for a second. We are less than halfway through 2026, and the US government just treated advanced AI models like dual-use military technology. The implications are staggering. Now here's the part that doesn't add up. One day after this crackdown happened, June 20, 2026, Trump sat down with Axios and said he no longer views Anthropic as a national security threat. Let me read that again because it sounds like a contradiction. The government forces a company to shut down its best models using national security arguments, and then 24 hours later the president says that company is no longer a threat. But wait, it gets weirder. Trump also said he did not rule out using emergency powers against Anthropic. So on one hand he's de-escalating the national security framing, on the other hand he's dangling the possibility of invoking emergency powers. This is not a coherent policy. This looks like a government figuring out, in real time, how it wants to handle the most powerful AI companies on Earth. The playbook isn't written yet. They're improvising. Now step back from the politics and look at what's actually happening with AI right now. Samsung just announced major AI-powered updates to its Samsung Health app for Galaxy Watch, translating complex biometric data from sleep patterns to daily activity into actionable health insights. Meanwhile, a French startup called Zencolab is using AI to analyze retinal images and detect eye diseases at early stages. These aren't science fiction anymore. These are shipping products in June 2026. The technology is advancing so fast that governments are scrambling to keep up with it. And that's the real tension. You have an industry that is moving at hyperspeed, producing tools that genuinely improve people's lives, better health monitoring, earlier disease detection, smarter everything. And you have a government that is trying to figure out how to regulate something it barely understands, while also making sure America doesn't lose its lead in the most important technology race of the century. Here's my take, and I want to be direct with you. The Anthropic episode reveals that we are entering a new phase of AI governance, one where governments no longer have the luxury of waiting. The models are too capable. The global implications are too serious. Export controls on AI are now real policy, not just theoretical. And the fact that the White House simultaneously says don't regulate AI too much and also we're going to restrict access to the most powerful models tells you that the political class has not reconciled its own values. We want innovation. We also want control. We want American companies to win. We also want to prevent that technology from spreading freely. These goals are in direct conflict, and the lack of clarity is going to create massive problems for companies, for researchers, and for global AI development. This is not a partisan issue. Both sides of the aisle are going to have to grapple with the fact that AI doesn't fit neatly into any existing regulatory box. The bottom line is this: AI has become important enough that the government can't ignore it, but still so new that nobody knows what they're doing. The Anthropic Fable 5 and Mythos 5 shutdown was a shot across the bow, a signal that the US will use every tool it has to control who gets access to the most powerful AI. Whether that strategy makes us safer or just slows down American innovation remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the decisions being made in Washington right now, in boardrooms in San Francisco, and in labs around the world, are going to shape what AI looks like for the rest of our lives. Pay attention. This is the part of history where the rules get written. And right now, they're being written in pencil.